On today's video, we're talking about every single Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure released in 2023.
Come on and let's rock and roll. It's time to rock and roll. Come on and let's rock and roll. Everybody rock and roll.
Special shout out to our channel members: Infinity Wartorn, Don Ranger Power, Jamie's World, JoJo Star, TMNT Productions, Christian Alejandro Saltos Valencia, MJ Klein, Infinite 1985, Kyle, Toku Texas Cosplay, Scrub Lord Gaming, Aiden Reynosa, Smith the Crow, Elma Ender Prime, and Toma K. Thanks for all your support, and you can join in the join button down below to get early access to videos as well as other perks, so check it out. Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my annual wrap-up for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Rundown 2023 edition. This is going to be kind of a little different, because first of all, it's actually coming out in 2023. Usually I have to hold these things off till January, but for reasons we might discuss later, there isn't anything I'm worried about coming out before the end of the year, so I decided to make it a little early, kind of just like in the year with a rundown for once. It's kind of nice, actually. And so on that, I are really looking forward to kind of going over the line and talking about each wave of figures and everything, and kind of discussing how things turned out, like we've done for the last several years with this line and others. As a whole, the brand celebrated its 30th anniversary. There was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the 30th anniversary reunion special. There was the Power Rangers Cosmic Fury season. The Boom Comics even did a 30th anniversary one-shot in addition to kicking off the Darkest Hour event, which is seeming to encapsulate even more of the Power Rangers universe than Shattered Grid did. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff, especially in the comics, going forward with Power Rangers. On the flip side, there wasn't as many toys released for the basic line. It seemed to only be a couple Zords, a couple Morphers, and a couple figures, and not anything significant. Like, we basically didn't get a Cosmic Fury toy line, we got a couple Cosmic Fury releases. So, Lightning Collection really was the bulk of the merchandise for Power Rangers this year, but how much did we actually get? So in total this year we had 44 releases, 26 of which I actually picked up myself. We'll go over why I didn't pick up the others as we talk about them, because they're, I think, fairly obvious why I didn't get them. We had 3 regular retail waves and 2 retail deluxe waves, plus a slew of exclusives. As usual, we're not covering the Morphers, the Roleplay, or the Zap Megazords. We just kind of keep these a little bit more streamlined to just the figure line, but we may talk about those in the future. Now, I talked about QC problems and inconsistencies, and while the inconsistencies are still a thing, I'm not going to do like a whole segment about it here. I'm just going to kind of bring it up as I think about it with the figures. But I also want to talk about QC because we had major quality control problems that we talked about last year: missing parts, duplicate parts, broken pieces, that sort of thing, and it even swayed me off of the line. But during the course of this year, I ran a little bit of a YouTube short series called Lightning Collection Lottery, all of which are found in the Soundout Reviews Power Rangers playlist, and I kind of went through each figure as I got it, opened it up, see how it was, and that series provided some interesting results, and if you've watched all of them, which a lot of people did, and I greatly appreciate that, the overall consensus was that I had one dud out of like all of them, and I did a lot. Sometimes I think the universe was playing tricks on me because my Time Force Blue turned out perfect, but it was kind of interesting to see that, like, while joint problems aside, because that's just like a toy industry problem, most of them turned out good, which means there was a sign of improvement, especially Wave 15. Wave 15, which was the last wave of the year, actually had pretty significantly good quality control. I hadn't seen anybody talk about missing pieces, duplicate pieces, massive breakage, that sort of thing. There was certainly, like, not perfect, but it did seem like they finally kind of got a handle on the QC problem that they've been having for the last year and a half. Now, while QC improved, distribution was still an issue. For a lot of people, Wave 15 never hit stores. In fact, I can't even think of a Target or Walmart sighting of Turbo Red or RPM Yellow or Lightspeed Blue. And from what I understand, there wasn't even a case assortment for them. They were just single packs sent to online retailers. But people did find at least up to Wave 14 in the United States. Now, unfortunately for the UK, it became Pulse exclusive starting with Wave 12. And then Wave 14 was a massive disaster. There was delays, there was cancellations, as up to recently. Like, people still don't have Wave 14 that they pre-ordered in the UK, including like Dino Thunder Black, who got canceled pretty much for everybody, and Lost Galaxy Pink got delayed till like next March. And I recommend for the UK fans that want those figures, start looking for import options. Dino Thunder Black is going to be really hard because he's like, I think, the most popular figure of the year. But I wish you the best of luck because it doesn't seem like Hasbro is actually going to fulfill those Pulse orders. And that is kind of ridiculous in this modern day and age that they can't just release toys. That's kind of ridiculous for what is a multi-billion-dollar toy company. On top of that, Wave 15 wasn't distributed in the UK at all, and UK retailers had to import from other places. So I wish you the best of luck, UK collectors. My heart goes out to you because having just multiple waves be, oh, we're doing Pulse exclusive because they don't sell as well or whatever, and then that actual one retailer that's in charge of doing that fails to do its job, that sucks, and it should be expected to be better from a company as large as Hasbro, or was as large because they just cut 20% of their workforce because of corporate mismanagement. I will not stop bringing that up in videos about Hasbro because that is ridiculous. They cut that many employees 2 weeks before Christmas. So with all that said, we're going to be going through the line wave by wave. We'll do the regular waves first, then the deluxe waves, then the exclusives alphabetically by retailer. Some of these figures may have been considered 2022 releases by other fan sites simply because they started to come out in 2022. My rule on the rundowns is always that it has to be out at 3 retailers in the US before it qualifies for that year's releases for the rundown. That's just how I do things to keep it kind of consistent year to year. And I think after we do that, we'll probably address the elephants in the room that started popping up. There's a big topic I want to discuss, but I kind of want to talk about this year's figures and accomplishments before we get to the elephant in the room. So let's begin our look at the 2023 releases of the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Wave 13 was hit with the most QC problems of the line, but the Wild Force Putrid was not among them. I didn't really see anybody report getting bad ones on this guy. While being the Wild Force equivalent of the Putty, he's on a pretty generic body, it's a pretty good one. Plus, they gave him the hands and the weapon to do the iconic pose that the Putrids do. You can also position that same weapon into a blaster just like it's done in the show, so it makes a nice display piece, though it just kind of sucks that we don't have a full Wild Force team for these to even fight. Oh, and he is supposed to have this effect piece, which is supposed to look like that, except mine was warped thanks to the bag. Next up, the Dino Charge Blue Ranger finished out our main Dino Charge team. Though despite the fact they could have reused an older mold, they gave him a new mold with the inset pin limbs. The Coda head sculpt is pretty good, though it probably could use a little bit more paint to get that likeness really dialed in. He does come with the Dino Charge Morpher, which unlike some of the others is actually painted on both sides of the barrel, which is really nice to see. Plus he comes with the sword, which unfortunately the whole handle is painted black and mine came pre-chipped, so be careful with that. He also comes with one of the more generic lightning effects. That being said, Coda's a pretty solid figure, though he does feel a little bit stiff when posing him. Beast Morpher's Yellow Ranger, aka the only one that lost the lightning lottery for me. She of course is a brand new mold, but is kind of lacking in the quality department. She's really shaky, very loose joints, and kind of just wobbly overall. The head sculpt also leaves a lot to be desired. The Beast Morphers were really good, except, yeah, this doesn't look like Zoe, and I don't know if it's just a paint issue on mine. She also comes with the Beast X Saber. It's a similar mold to her red and blue counterparts. But unfortunately, she gets a reuse of the Shadow Ranger sword effect, not the really cool Beast Morpher specific one. Rounding out the group is Dino Fury Green, who had missing heads and duplicate arms and all kinds of other crazy stuff. But mine turned out pretty good overall. I think mold-wise, she's pretty solid, and I think overall, actually a really great figure, and it's unfortunate so many people had QC problems like that. The Izzy head sculpt is solid, even though I think it's a little bit too intense for Izzy. It does capture a likeness better, I think, than Zoe. And of course, like the other Dino Fury Rangers, she does come with a Chromo Fury Saber, and an effect piece to put on that saber, though be careful of paint rub. Now, Wave 14 fared a little better in design and quality-wise. The first figure of the wave is the Lost Galaxy Pink Ranger, finally continuing the team. She has a fully updated body with double jointed elbows and inset pin limbs. The Kendrix head sculpt is pretty spectacular. For Lightning Collection standards, this is really good. Plus, her glasses are a separate piece that are removable, which is really nice. She comes with the Trans Dagger in the Beta Bow formation, which is really cool to see. And most importantly, in addition to the closed version, she has the extended Quasar Saber, the one accessory every Lost Galaxy Ranger should have. Plus, she comes with another generic lightning effect that will probably scratch the paint off that saber if you leave it on too long. Next up, the last Dino Thunder Ranger, the Dino Thunder Black Ranger. What's interesting here is you do have visible pins, so it does match the Dino Thunder Rangers pretty nicely, and overall just looks spectacular. The Tommy head sculpt's a little 50-50. It's kind of hard to capture that look in that point in time. But his main and only weapon, the Brachiostaff, looks really good if you got the full painted version. For whatever reason, there was 2 versions floating out there with a gold tip or a silver tip. It depends on which one you got. Now he comes with an effect part, which I assume you're supposed to use for when he uses the ground attack, because certainly a rectangle peg is not going to go over a circular sword, even if they keep trying to do this. To go alongside Tommy is his nemesis, Mesogog. Mesogog only had one figure before, and this one is definitely a huge step up in the articulation and design department. This head sculpt is fantastic. While yes, you could put more paint on it, I think it has all the necessary paint to capture the look of the character. Plus he has an articulated jaw, which really gives him a lot of different posing options. He does come with a pair of fists, mostly so he can use this energy punch effect piece he comes with. He also comes with this head energy that kind of was used more in his later forms, but it's nice to see here. And this is what was really fun about the Lightning Collection, was having villains to go alongside the Rangers, and putting these two in the same wave was perfect. Rounding out the wave is the Dino Fury Blue Ranger. His body mold matches Zeto's with the visible pins, and overall is painted very similar. However, interestingly enough, green and red have painted silver visors, whereas blue has a plastic silver visor. Just a little weird inconsistency. The Ollie head sculpt is pretty solid. It definitely captures that stuck-up attitude he had for most of the series. Naturally, he comes with his Chroma Fury Saber, though it has a little bit different thickness plastic than the one that came with Izzy, and an effect piece guaranteed to wipe that paint right off the blade. Now, Wave 15 cleaned up on QC and is actually pretty solid overall. First up, we have the Red Turbo Ranger TJ, who was highly anticipated, and he just turned out great. He's on a brand new body mold, full inset pins, really cool features like drop-down hips, really solid construction. Plus, his head sculpt's pretty good. It's maybe a little bit off from TJ, but it's pretty solid overall. I'd say it's one of the better Lightning head sculpts. We of course get the Auto Blaster, which can store in his holster. It does have a blast port on the front if you have blast effects that fit that, but he doesn't come with any of those. Plus he comes with the Turbo Blade, which is a nice inclusion for what we'll see in a moment. Naturally, he also comes with the Turbo Lightning Sword, his specific weapon, which looks really good, and especially nice detail with the logo on the handle. There's an effect part that can be used on either sword. I prefer not to use it because of paint scrape. And because TJ came with both swords, you can do his pose from Forever Red when he used both. And that's what makes this one of the best figures, because he comes with everything you'd want him to come with. Next up, starting the Lightspeed Rescue team, we have the Lightspeed Blue Ranger. Put on a body similar to the Time Force Ranger, specifically Time Force Blue. Not my favorite look of the body mold, but he's still kind of loosey-goosey. Also, the Chad likeness leaves a lot to be desired. Chad's expression on the figure is kind of how I feel when looking at it. He does come with the Rescue Blaster in blaster form, having a blast effect port for blast effects he does not come with, and he has the Rescue Blaster in baton form as well. Nice detail with the number 2 being there. You do get an effect part for that Rescue Baton. Naturally, he comes with the V-Lancer. Oh wait, he doesn't come with the V-Lancer. While not as big of an exclusion as like a Quasar Saber, it's something I really wanted because I think the V-Lancers are the iconic Lightspeed Rescue weapon. Starting off, RPM is the RPM Yellow Ranger. Really nice figure with the painted stripes on the arms, something that Bandai missed on their figures, though I will say the holster for the Nitro Blaster looks weird and does not work correctly. The Summer head sculpt is fantastic. Excellent likeness to the actress, excellent likeness to the character. I have zero complaints. She of course does come with that Nitro Blaster. The hand doesn't quite fit it perfectly, but she does hold it. You also get the Nitro Sword form of that same weapon, which is appropriately adjusted proportion-wise. And then yet another, a rectangle slot for a circular sword. I feel like I'm going crazy looking at this because those don't go together. And of course she is missing, sadly, her zip charger. That is kind of a small weapon and would have been an easy inclusion, but maybe the plan was to not include the personal weapons of the RPM Ranger since everybody else's are large, but it's kind of a bummer she doesn't have it. Alright, moving into our Deluxe Waves with Deluxe Wave 3. First up, the Blue Centurion from Power Rangers Turbo. I'm just going to say it, my absolute favorite figure of the year, probably my favorite Lightning Collection figure ever. He's so beautifully done. Unique sculpt, all the painted details, there is literally nothing missing, and some tight joints is all that's really holding him back. The holsters on the leg can be swapped out. The one on the one side can be switched out for one without the holster, and then of course you can put another holster on the other side, which he never needs, but it's there. He comes with the Centurion Synergizer in its badge form, which looks really nice. A separate piece for its gun form, which is nicely painted. And hey, it's one of those fabled blast effects that go in the end of blasters. It looks good, but it's kind of like a lot of energy for a small weapon. He also gets the baton form of the Centurion Synergizer, and that thing looks really nice, though it does have a tendency to get warped in the package. And rounding it out, he even has the whistle to summon the Robo Racer. Absolutely nothing is missing. 10 out of 10 figure. Love this thing. The second release in Deluxe Wave 3 is one I skipped. It's the In-Space Silver Ranger and his Silver Cycle. The In-Space Silver is very similar to the previous release, except he is inset pin-bodied this time. And the Silver Cycle doesn't transform into its glider form, so I kind of just felt like skipping it even when it was on sale. Moving on to the Deluxe Wave 4, we finally had a single-packed Rita Repulsa, and this one is a massive update. Brand new dress, brand new head sculpt, brand new chest plate, almost an entirely brand new figure from the previous Rita, and she looks amazing. She of course has that calm face, and she comes with extra sets of hands and faces to give her more expressiveness. As if Rita was experiencing one of her famous headaches, for example. Or if she finally feels like she's claiming victory. The faces swap out in a really cool system, so that way you don't have entirely separate heads, and the hand options are amazing. Plus, her staff is fully painted this time with all the little gold ornate details. She does come with an effect. I haven't figured out how to put it on more natural than that. It looks a little weird. And when compared to the old Rita on the right, this new Rita Repulsa is just incredible. It's everything that she should have been the first time, and it's everything I was hoping they would do in a version 2. Heck, I'd even say she's outclassing Lord Zed here, and especially outclassing Goldar. It's a shame, though, that we haven't seen Squat and Babu. The other deluxe figure is the Mighty Minotaur, probably here because of the appearance of Robo Minotaur in Once and Always. A very large, very detailed, brand new sculpted figure, Minotaur casts an impressive silhouette. Plus, he comes with his shield and his club, the two weapons he needs to include. There's also a unique effect piece put on around his horns that I really like quite a bit. And in a really cool inclusion I wish we would have seen more of, he includes the clay minifigure that Finster made him from. I really wish they had started this earlier, because all the monsters coming with little figures that could go with Finster would have been really, really cool. And sure, Minotaur is gigantic and not proper suit scale, but like a lot of the monsters, he looks really impressive on a shelf, and he's a really great figure regardless of the scale problem. We had one Amazon exclusive this year, which was the Alien Rangers box set. This has all 5 Alien Rangers, and while they don't come with civilian heads, they are fully featured figures. First up, we have the white Alien Ranger Delphine. Delphine has a full inset pin body, which is nice to see. She's got the double jointed elbows, so she feels really upgraded. She comes with the Equation Saber, which does have her specific logo on the hilt. You also do get the Equation Laser, which the hands are designed to actually hold the trigger. The Equation Laser knife, which is inside the laser itself, but is a separate piece on this figure, is also included. And rounding out her accessories is a swirling energy effect. Next up we have Arako, the red Alien Ranger. He does have visible pins, just like the other Alien Rangers, but that was a better mold at the time. He does come with a sword, which is the same piece as Delphine's, except it does have his specific symbol on the end of the hilt. The Equation Laser is also here, same exact piece, painted really well actually. He comes with an effect for the Equation Laser, which is nice, and then he also has the knife form of the Equation Laser. Next up we have Sestro, the blue Alien Ranger. His color tone of blue is a little off. But of course he does come with the Equation Saber with his specific symbol. He does come with the knife form of the laser, and the laser plus a different colored laser effect. Next we have Corcus, the black Alien Ranger, who looks really slick in that color scheme. Same deal, he's got the saber with his symbol. He has an effect to go over the saber, plus of course he has the same laser, and the knife form of the laser. I'm appreciating the consistency. And lastly we have Titus, the yellow Alien Ranger. Sword, plus his symbol, laser, plus an effect, and of course the knife form. The consistent accessories really make this feel like a great box set. Alright, let's get on to our fan channel exclusives, which are sold mostly at online retailers. Following up from Ryu and Chun-Li last year, we have Ken as the Soaring Falcon Ranger. This is a new design for Lightning Collection, and I hate it. I don't like the repainted Mighty Morphin Red helmet, and I don't like the bare arms. It really breaks up the Ranger aesthetic. And then in our other Street Fighter collaboration is Cammy as the Stinging Crane Ranger. Once again, I have major problems with this because it also has her hair exposed. It feels like Ken and Cammy were designed by the Hasbro team, not really taking what the Ryu and Chun-Li designs had, which was incorporating the Street Fighter designs into Ranger forms, and instead we got these weird mashups that don't look quite right. There also was this Tenga Warrior 2-pack, which initially I was excited about because, hey, more Tengas, and then I saw the color schemes and I said, yeah, I'm good. And then the hotly anticipated Lost Galaxy Yellow, completing the Lost Galaxy team. Maya here has the double jointed elbows, as well as some really good detail work, though unfortunately the pinned knees. Her unmasked head is pretty solid. It's got a really good likeness overall, and I think they did a good job with it. Instead of a trans dagger, she comes with the Quasar launcher, kind of like the second release of Red had, and it does have the same effect part, plus the launcher can be switched into baton form. But unlike Red, the sticker application is really poor. It's off-center, it's broken, the glue is bleeding through the sticker because of how thin the sticker is. It just looks really disgusting, and I think I should expect better from a $25 figure. And then naturally she comes with the extended Quasar saber. No, she doesn't. For some reason, the most important item in all of Lost Galaxy, the Quasar Saber, is not included with her, and unlike the second release of Red, there is no version of her with it. Which means I went out and bought another Lost Galaxy Blue while he was on sale just for his sword, so that at least Maya has something. This is absolutely one of the worst things that happened this year with Lightning Collection, QC problems included, because they should know better by now that the Lost Galaxy Rangers need the Quasar Sabers. And as a quick side note, yellow does have the double jointed elbows that pink has, except pink got the nice inset pin knees and yellow got the warpy pinned knees. Maya's a big disappointment. Finishing off our SPD team, we have the SPD Yellow Ranger. Z has no real new surprises to her. She's basically a repainted pink with a new helmet, which is kind of how you do Power Rangers toys, so I have no complaints. The unmasked head is pretty good. Actually looks really much like the actress. I'm actually pretty impressed by what they did here. She also comes with unique hands to do her roll call pose, which is really appreciated. She comes with a Delta Max knuckle, which looks really good and fits in her hand, as well as the Delta Max baton, now painted yellow. Plus an effect piece that's way too big for the baton, but hey, they're just throwing anything in. There also is a shorter baton that combines with the knuckle to make the blaster form. And she comes with the SPD Morpher. Yes, they painted it on the wrong side. The sculpt is there to be on this side, but they just painted it wrong. But are we surprised they did it right the first time and then never again? Also released as fan channel exclusives was the remastered Mighty Morphin line. This was a way for Hasbro to bring the Mighty Morphin Rangers back out with more accessories, kind of updated. These were carrying the deluxe price point, but they did come with a lot of stuff, like Billy here having removable glasses, and they're now on inset pin bodies. So naturally, Trini gets the double jointed elbow update, but yeah, you only get heads for the Season 1 cast, which is kind of a bummer, because the Black Ranger could have included an Atom head as well. But yeah, it's just going to be Season 1 stuff, but they do come with a lot of things. And since we've already gotten to Kimberly, and you noticed I haven't talked about any of them in further detail, I didn't feel like buying the whole team again. And yeah, even if Tommy had a little bit better of a helmet, I thought the first helmet wasn't that bad, and it's nice that he comes with the green candle, considering he doesn't come with the Dragon Shield. Because the Dragon Shield comes with red, who doesn't have an unmasked head in comparison, and it kind of breaks up the you can just buy your favorite Mighty Morphin Ranger, and the team feels a little weird this way, but that's how they did it. I did, however, pick up red, basically to be a parts kit for some other figures. In addition to the new body, he does have a brand new Dragon Shield design and armband design, plus a better adjusted helmet. As you can see here, between the new helmet and the old helmet, it's much better proportion and just looks a ton better than the old one. And the new Dragon Shield's better, having a more reflective gold, better proportioned, and it is removable this time. This doesn't work as an armored red, however, because it doesn't have any Dragon Dagger or Dragon Dagger holster, because as it says on the box, it is a green no more Jason Lee Scott Mighty Morphin Red, which means he didn't have the Dragon Dagger with it. You can remove the shield and the armbands. The armbands just slide right off the arms. Pretty simple, honestly. And then the shield itself is soft plastic, so you can pop it off the two pegs and put it on any figure you wish. But we're going to put the helmet on this version. So as you can see, it's a very nice updated Mighty Morphin Red. He comes with a pair of fists, which is something we don't usually see in the line. You get his Blade Blaster in holster mode, blade mode, and blaster mode with a blast effect port on the end. And you also get the Power Sword, which mine came pre-chipped, because I've never gotten one of these with full paint. A feature of the remastered figures is they come with morphers to show the Rangers like right after morphing, but it looks weird because you have the two morphers with the one on the belt. But the aura energy effect to go around it is actually pretty cool and nice to mix up the effect pieces. Now me personally, I'm just going to put the new helmet on the old body so he matches with the rest of the team, but that Dragon Shield is going to go other places. Option number one seems kind of obvious, stick it on an SPD Green Ranger. If you're confused what I mean by that, at the end of the Soul of Dragon comic, Tommy's son JJ becomes the SPD Green Ranger and he has the Dragon Shield at that point, so you can do that custom pretty easy. Now in Shattered Grid, Kimberly did wield the Dragon Dagger and the armor, even using the Dragon Dagger as an arrow for her bow. So how does that work? Well, the shield itself is fitted for female chests by having a couple pegs up. However, it's just very large on her. And again, you don't get a Dragon Dagger, I just pulled that from another one. I'm not exactly sure if this totally works. The armbands especially are just way too big on those small arms. I would love to see an armored Pink Ranger in the future because this doesn't quite scratch that itch. Now this year's Target exclusives I had zero interest in, and considering how I was having a hell of a time getting the ones for Marvel, that's a good thing. First up, Daniel as the White Crane Ranger. Yes, this is a Cobra Kai Power Rangers crossover that nobody asked for and has zero source material to work off of, and was probably just an excuse to reuse the ninja bodies. Here is Samantha as the Pink Mantis Ranger. Yeah, this is just a thing they did. I don't know. I can't even understand the Skeleputty because I've never watched Cobra Kai. At least get the characters as Rangers in the training suits because, you know, Karate Kid stuff. Like Miguel as the Red Eagle Ranger. Yeah, I get that. That kind of like makes sense in my brain. And then Johnny as the Black Boar Ranger. I don't know about Animal Connections. I don't know Cobra Kai. It's nice to have like bare arms for customs maybe, but overall this was just a way to reuse some parts. Now our Walgreens exclusive this year got back to what exclusives should be. A random variant of a character that already exists. consist. The Invincible Phantom Ranger is mostly clear plastic with some nice paint detail, and I don't think you could actually buy it from a Walgreens in the US, but it was available on Hasbro Pulse, marked as a Walgreens exclusive, so who cares? There it is. I didn't buy it. It looks neat, and I like this kind of exclusive as opposed to here's an important character like we had with the last couple Walgreens. We had one Hasbro Pulsecon 2023 exclusive in the figure category, and this happens to be the last release of the year. The Omega Rangers 4-pack was something I highly wanted and was glad to see, and I covered it in its own dedicated video or even compared to the comic book art, but we still will take a look at the figures for the sake of consistency. Alright, first up, the Omega Red Ranger on a brand new body mold, heavily detailed, heavily painted, looks like it walked right off the page. The helmet details in particular are something very nice. While they don't have unmasked heads, I love seeing the unique gemstones in the foreheads. He does come with the Omega Katana, which looks very good, and a yellow energy effect piece to go over that katana, though I'm not going to leave it on for the sake of avoiding paint rub. Next we have the Omega Yellow Ranger, also on a brand new body mold, also looks terrific with sculpted and painted detail. Her helmet's gemstone even has the little line detail in it, which is really impressive. Her main weapon is the Omega Hammer, which looks really cool and is really sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's going to warp under its own weight. And she comes with a cool hammer impact effect. The Omega Black Ranger uses the same mold as Omega Red, but does have the different paint scheme needed. His forehead gem on his helmet is even redesigned accordingly. The Omega Kama are well represented and have a posable chain, plus 2 effect pieces to give it some vibrance. Rounding out the set is the Omega Blue Ranger, who reuses the mold from Yellow. The gemstone in the head is painted differently, even though it's not sculpted differently, and that's a really cool use of the mold. The Omega Trident is definitely a cool looking weapon, and it's definitely sturdy in her hands. And she comes with that crazy overly done energy effect piece. Overall, it's a terrific set. Alright, let's do our annual check-in on the completion of teams. We're just going to be focusing on ones that were started at some point in the line.
It's Morphin time. Tyrannosaurus.
Mighty Morphin. We have all the Rangers, and in fact we got 6 of them twice, so that's pretty nice. We have all 6 Ninja Rangers plus both Pink Rangers.
Red Ranger power.
We have all the metallic armor Mighty Morphin Rangers. We got all 5 Alien Rangers in one set together.
Zeo Ranger 5. Red.
We have all 6 Zeo Rangers.
Shift into Turbo.
For Turbo, we have the Red Ranger, the Blue Centurion, and the Phantom Ranger. Missing our blue, pink, green, and yellow.
Let's rock it.
We have all 6 Space Rangers. We got all 7 Psycho Rangers.
Go, Galactic.
We have all 6 Lost Galaxy Rangers, but one of them is missing a Quasar Saber, so I'm just going to step in. Yeah, that looks much better with everybody having swords.
Lightspeed. Rescue.
We only have 1 Lightspeed Ranger in the form of blue, so we're still missing red, pink, green, yellow, and titanium. But to make sure this guy's not lonely, I'm going to give him some friends.
Time for Time Force.
For Time Force, we have red and blue. We're missing green, pink, yellow, and quantum.
Wild Access. Ha!
For Wild Force, we just have blue and the Lunar Wolf Ranger. We're still missing red, yellow, black, and white.
Dino Thunder. Power up. Ha!
For Dino Thunder, we have all 5 Dino Thunder Rangers.
SPD. Emergency.
For SPD, we have all 5 B Squad Rangers, the Omega Ranger, the Shadow Ranger, and we have all 5 A Squad Rangers. We're still technically missing Cat and Nova Rangers.
RPM. Get in gear.
For RPM, we just have the Yellow Ranger, meaning we're missing red, blue, green, black, gold, and silver.
Unleash the power.
For Dino Charge, we have all 6 main Rangers, but we don't have silver, purple, graphite, or aqua. Or also the Dark Ranger.
Activate Beast Power.
For Beast Morphers, we complete the main team of 3, but in the overall sense, we're still missing the Silver Ranger and Roxy.
Link to Morphing Grid.
For Dino Fury, we got the red, blue, and green Rangers. We're still missing black, pink, and gold. For the Omega Rangers, we got the original lineup of 4, but there are other versions of the Omegas that could be made. For the Turtle Rangers, we have all 5 of the main team from the first miniseries, plus Atami and the Shredder Green Ranger. For Street Fighter, we did get Ryu and Chun-Li, who actually exist in video games, and we got Ken and Cammy to join them. For Cobra Kai, I guess it's complete, because there's no source material for that. Okay, so now that we've talked about the year figures, let's discuss the elephants in the room. They popped up. I couldn't control them. They just started showing up. Yeah, the line's over for now. You know, it's on officially hiatus as of San Diego Comic-Con 2023. There was questions asked. The reason that question was asked was because it started having things dry up. Like, we weren't getting new pre-orders, new reveals, new pipelines, new teases. There were listings, but there weren't physical leaks. And unfortunately, I think for the time being, Lightning Collection is done. This is it's our last annual rundown for Power Rangers Lightning Collection, which is kind of sad because I felt like as we marched through the year, I was pretty discouraged of collecting the line early on because of the QC problems last year and everything. But I got back into it. It's probably because somebody gifted me a Time Force Blue, and then I was like, well, at that point, I might as well just get everything. But it sort of is a bummer because I felt like Wave 15, outside of like missing V-Lance or missing Zip Charger, that wave was really solid. Like all the figures were really good. And I felt like we were finally getting somewhere. And I also feel like if the line was going to go on hiatus, Wave 15 wouldn't have been our last wave. That felt like, oh, hey, we just finished a few teams. Let's move on to the next teams. You know, like let's start up RPM and Lightspeed and get those rolling. It doesn't feel like this was planned. You know, it doesn't feel like the line ending now, you know, for the foreseeable future, because we don't know when or if it's coming back. It kind of feels like the design team didn't have this planned, which also means it was probably sprung on them last minute. In terms of like Hasbro as a company, they had a really bad year, almost entirely self-inflicted by upper management, though there is problems with the toy industry and like kids aren't into toys as much anymore. And I have been saying in recent videos, like my recent Indiana Jones video that I'm probably thinking flopped, that the kids toy line side of Hasbro really has failed kids into wanting to collect toys, because how are you supposed to get started in collecting toys when toys are lame and overpriced? You'll just end up going on to something else. And in the case, kids really flocked to Ninja Turtles, and the price value was there, where I felt like with Hasbro, it didn't exist. So the thing is that I think that Hasbro's company is having problems, and Hasbro's company doesn't seem to care about Power Rangers that much. I know that sounds harsh, and it's like, oh, they probably care. It's a property they bought. It's not really a property that current Hasbro purchased. Hasbro purchased Power Rangers because Brian Goldner wanted Power Rangers. And then Brian Goldner tragically passed away, and Chris Cox is the new CEO, who, while he mentions Power Rangers in like earnings reports, doesn't seem to want to invest anything into it. Because, case in point, when Hasbro did layoffs at the beginning of 2023, they cut 800 employees, including several people we had seen on live streams for Power Rangers, and they were gone. Their jobs were finished, which was ridiculous, because like, how are you supposed to make toys when you're firing like key people like lead sculptors? And so after that, we sort of saw like a slow trickle of Power Rangers news. Like, it was the 30th anniversary. There was a reunion special with the Mighty Morphin cast. There was a brand new season that was going to be all original footage minus Zords for the first time in forever. And there was like zero marketing. Like, yeah, those things were on Netflix, and it's not like Hasbro could announce dates, but they took press photos of the Mighty Morphin cast in their new suits and the Cosmic Fury cast in their suits, and we never saw those press photos. Like, they just took those for nothing. And there was like barely any updates. The Omega Rangers we found out about coming out as figures through eBay leaks of a prototype. Like, there was just no push for this anniversary, you know? It was this huge thing. Like, Power Rangers hit 30 years, 30 consecutive years on television, and it just seemed like Hasbro didn't give a damn. There was, you know, stuff from Boom Studios. They did a whole Kickstarter thing that raised a bunch of money. They did their anniversary special. There was stuff from other companies that were doing like cool like Power Rangers merch things. And then there was Hasbro that was just like, your new season of Power Rangers doesn't even have a toy line. And so it's easy to just feel defeated about that, because it does legitimately seem like Hasbro just does not care. And from what we've heard from former Power Rangers executive producer Simon Bennett, there wasn't marketing for Cosmic Fury because the team for Power Rangers had already been disbanded by that point. We know that there's key people on the Power Rangers team, like Emily, the marketing lead. She's on 6 Hasbro brands. If you watched Pulsecon 2023 and saw Emily introducing half the segments, you can understand how spread thin the people at Hasbro are. And Emily does an amazing job on every brand she's on, but that poor woman's on 6 brands. And I don't know what the current, 1,100 layoffs they just started doing, if she's going to have to be on more brands. You know, it's kind of like, I can see the problems with the company through their own press events. And we always see from the wonderful people like the design team and the marketing people and all of them on the live streams, we don't see like the corporate jerks that make all these decisions we don't like the prices and the distribution problems or the factory switches or the cost cutting for the plastic-free packaging and all that. that wasn't done by the design team. That was done from up above. And it's like, here's a directive, you got to follow this, that kind of thing. So, you know, I'm sure like the Power Rangers team would have loved to do stuff for Cosmic Fury. Like, you know, of course, they're in the business to make toys, but Hasbro doesn't seem to be in the business of making toys or entertainment or anything, because they seem to be in a downward spiral as a company. And so I think I can attribute that Power Rangers not really having a grand spectacle of a 30th from Hasbro was more of a problem of Hasbro as a whole company, less so of a problem of just Power Rangers. That being said, going forward, I think there's a lot of things we could address with the Lightning Collection. This is something that's supposed to, like, appease collectors. Yet there are certain things that we have complained about since the first year that haven't been addressed yet. I mean, I can sit here and talk about the inconsistencies in accessories and paint and joints and all that forever, but it doesn't seem to really go anywhere. And at the moment, with the line on a hiatus, you know, it is official. It's not canceled. It's on a hiatus. Marvel Legends is like been going on for 20 years, but there was a period of time where Hasbro was just releasing 6-inch Marvel figures, not Marvel Legends. And then Marvel Legends came back so strong that they're putting out almost 200 figures a year and trying to kill me while making the rundown video. So it's not to say that the line is dead forever or the concept of like a 6-inch collector's line for Power Rangers is dead. But the question is Hasbro going to invest in anything anymore? They kind of seem like they're trying to be risk-averse like Hollywood, and then just like Hollywood, seemingly losing out in every direction. And so when it comes down to it, I think that the ultimate thing that Power Rangers Lightning Collection needs to do on, you know, the possible day it comes back, like if it comes back, how do you get people back in? You got to keep the quality control in check, because it just got way out of hand. And with the plastic-free packaging, combined with the missing parts, combined with the breakage problems, a lot of casual collectors just dropped out. It wasn't because they were making less Mighty Morphin, they just dropped out. I made a whole YouTube series called Lightning Collection Lottery because of how much it was kind of a meme or really a discussion point in the community that the quality control was so bad, you weren't sure if you got a good figure until you opened it. And that was the entire, like, genesis of the idea of Lightning Collection Lottery. And while it's kind of a fun thing, we were having fun with it, it's also kind of a sad reflection on a line where I can actually make something like that and people will tune in going, well, is it good? Did you get everything? Because that's kind of like a sad state for a toy line to be in. So the line going on hiatus after this year does not surprise me whatsoever. If I was at the point of like, let's see if I got a good figure, it's not a good thing. We had fun with it, though. You know, I think that's how you have to kind of handle things as a fan. You know, we ultimately don't have that much influence on the corporate structure and how, like, a business is run, but we can kind of just have fun with it, you know, in the best way we can. You know, sort of dark humor at the same time, but we were having fun with it, and I liked it, and I was kind of sad when it ended, but I wasn't going to go buy Cobra Kai figures just to keep Lightning Collection Lottery running. So, at the end of the day, I think with the Lightning Collection, should it come back? Yes, I think the idea is there. I would totally just continue buying into the Lightning Collection. I love having the figures, and I would love to complete teams. And I think that's the first thing that I would fix. Like, if I were to be put in charge of Lightning Collection, which, God help me, I don't want to be. The Hasbro corporate structure seems incredibly, like, creatively strangling. But if I was put in charge of it today and was told, map out a year's worth of figures, first thing I would do, finish up the teams we started. Like, the first wave is going to have Beast Morpher Silver. It's going to have Dino Fury Black and Pink and Gold. And that's your first wave. And it's going to be like, you know, somebody in the corporate manager's like, oh, is that not enough variety? No, it's going to finish some teams we started. Then we're going to start chipping away at RPM and Lightspeed. You know, maybe not do like an entire wave that's just Lightspeed, but like, kind of like what Bandai was doing with the Legacy Collection, where it's like half the wave is Lightspeed, half the wave is RPM. And then we just do that, you know, until we finish those teams. Then we start looking at the team's popularities. Overdrive is not a popular season. That should be a 6-pack. Just, you know, don't worry about the fan complaints, because there always will be fan complaints whether you do a single or box set. Just put them out as a box set. You know, just do it. Like, get a team out there. But I would just box set some of these teams. I would box set Overdrive. I would box set Megaforce. You know, that kind of thing. Just to kind of, you know, look at what the collecting community is asking for, which is complete teams, and work on making that happen. And then I would kind of like, you know, kind of like how they had the monster line as a separate thing, I would do the monsters as a separate thing, instead of trying to mix them into the waves. But I would keep the monsters figure size, not like the giant size monsters we got, just keep them the same, you know, scale as the figures, include some extra accessories, up the paint, and then keep them at the deluxe price point. Something like the Blue Centurion, where it's like, yeah, okay, he's $30, but hey, he's got so much paint and detail that I kind of don't mind that. That's the kind of thing. Like, if the quality's there, people will show up, ultimately, in the end of the day. That's the kind of thing I think that we were lacking, was like a strategy, like a plan. It felt like with Lightning Collection, because they also had so many changing heads in marketing and lead design and all this over the line, it kind of felt like there was no plan. It was just like, you know, they looked at a wave and they're like, here's a Red Ranger, here's a couple other Rangers, here's a random villain. And it doesn't give confidence to a collector that that's what they want. And they did tell us up front, they're not worried about completing teams, they just want like a scattershot view. And I think that was the wrong mistake. It's Power Rangers. Power Rangers is one of the only franchises where completing a team of figures is more important than the individual figure. And to that point, I would decide up front which accessories can be budgeted into every figure and then just make everything consistent. Because the frustration comes in with things like Maya's missing Quasar Saber. The Quasar launcher, instead, was just not what anybody was asking for, especially with how quality was really bad on that. It's make sure you got the iconic accessories. Look at the openings of the shows. What are the weapons they use in the openings, for example? Because those tend to kind of have the iconic imagery. So at the end of the day, when we're talking about Lightning Collection, this is the last rundown for the foreseeable future. This won't be the last video about Lightning Collection on this channel. I have kind of a project in mind. I don't want to fully announce it yet because it's going to be a lot of work, but I think it'll be really cool. So I hope you will stay tuned for that. And I want to do more stuff with Power Rangers, but the well's drying up a little bit. So apologies if into 2024 there's not as many Power Rangers videos as there is Super Sentai, Ultraman, other cool, you know, Blu-ray, DVD stuff that I love doing, you know, doing more history videos. It's going to be kind of a different year because there's not going to be new Power Rangers to talk about all the time, even though I'll try to talk about the Power Rangers comics at any given opportunity. But that's going to be where we're at. So I hope you will take this journey with me into our sort of Power Rangers hiatus future next year and still enjoy the other videos on the channel. You know, if you were a Power Rangers diehard who didn't have any other franchise, you were only Power Rangers, check out some videos on the channel. See if something spikes your interest. The viewing guide playlist is really helpful for that. So I hope you'll check out some other things. I think the hiatus could be good for everybody in a lot of ways. And I hope that Power Rangers returns in the future stronger than it ever was before. So on that note, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe and notification bell so you can keep up with all those future videos on the channel. Really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. Tell me your final thoughts on the Lightning Collection as it is. What you would do for a resurrection of the line and that sort of thing. Also, be sure to check out the channel memberships at the join button down below. Please consider joining the channel directly. It helps support the channel and helps us grow and gets to do more cool things, and I would really appreciate that. Also, be sure to check out our live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern here on this YouTube channel and our Discord server in the link below. If you also want to find me on other social media, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Soundout12. Links in the description. You can find my awesome graphic designer who made our wonderful thumbnail on social media and on Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Power Rangers interviews, comic reviews, news, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, may the power protect you.